What if I told you arguably the greatest ODI cricketer of all time averaged just 32 at the bat? Sounds ridiculous, right? But sometimes greatness isn't measured in averages, it's measured in impact. In this episode of From Colombo with Swing, we dive into the extraordinary game-changing legacy of Sanath Jayasuriya, a man who didn't just play ODI cricket, he rewrote its rules. To understand greatness, you must first understand the grind. Sanath's journey didn't start with fireworks and centuries. It began humbly, like most Sri Lankan cricketers of his generation, through the dusty school grounds, cricket under coconut trees, and long hours with torn shoes and second-hand kits. He was part of Sri Lanka's under-19 squad in the very first Youth World Cup. He toured Pakistan with the B team, scored 2 double centuries, and caught the eye of a certain Sanjeewa Ranatunga, Arjuna's younger brother, who passed on the name to the captain himself. And just like that, a door creaked open. In December 1990, Sanath made his debut for Sri Lanka in the Benson and Hedges World Series at the mighty Melbourne Cricket Ground. Batting at number 5, he managed just 3 runs. Nothing about it screamed future superstar. Not yet. But behind the scenes, something extraordinary was unfolding. Sanath, like many outstation players, faced real-life struggles just to make it to training. He stayed at Arjuna Ranatunga's house, part of a brotherhood of young hopefuls given shelter by their skipper. A story that says just as much about Arjuna's leadership as it does about Sanath's humble beginnings. Sanath's early ODI career was forgettable, if judged by numbers alone. In his first 39 ODIs, he averaged a mere 11.13 with the bat. 20 times out of 33 innings, he failed to cross double figures. But selectors kept the faith, not because of sentiment, but because he brought value with the ball. A spinner with canny control, Sanath claimed match-winning figures of 6 for 29 against England in Moratuwa in 1993, a Sri Lankan record at the time. He was proving to be a useful utility player, not a star, not yet. Then came the turning point. In late 1993, Sanath was promoted to number 3 in Sharjah. He made 58, then 65. The shift worked. A few games later, he was tried as an opener. The results weren't immediate. He was sent back to the middle order, but the seed was planted. By 1994, in a home series against Pakistan, he was back at the top. This time, he grabbed the opportunity. 3 consecutive 50s earned him a permanent spot as an opener. Later that year in South Africa, he hammered 140 against New Zealand in Bloemfontein, his first ODI century, and backed it up with a rapid-fire 52 off 31 balls. Sri Lanka had found something explosive. He ended 1994 with a batting average of 24. In 1995, it climbed to 29. Not earth-shattering, but momentum was building. Then came 1996. January 9th, 1996. A day that quietly sparked a revolution in ODI cricket. At the MCG, during a Benson and Hedges World Series match between Sri Lanka and Australia, something bold unfolded. Instead of following the traditional route of a cautious start, Sri Lanka flipped the script. They sent 2 fearless hitters to open, Sanath Jayasuriya, and for the very first time, Romesh Kaluwitharana. Little Kalu, as Tony Grigg fondly called him, wasn't just filling in. He was about to change how the game was played. In his debut innings as an opener, Kaluwitharana went on an all-out assault, smashing 77 off 75 balls. Australia was stunned, and Sri Lanka chased down the target for a thrilling 3-wicket win. While Jayasuriya would go on to become the face of Sri Lanka's batting revolution, it was actually Kalu who took the initial charge among the two. Their combined intent, aggression in the first 15 overs, that was new. That was different. Yes, there had been aggressive openers before, but rarely had both openers gone on the attack. This wasn't a one-off tactic. This was the seed of something bigger. Because just a few months later, on the stage of the 1996 World Cup, this very approach would explode into full force and changed the game forever. But it all began quietly, in Melbourne, with little Kalu. March 2nd, 1996, Delhi, India versus Sri Lanka. A World Cup clash that would echo far beyond the scoreboard. Batting first, India flexed their batting muscle. Sachin Tendulkar was at his brilliant best, stroking a majestic 137. Azharuddin anchored the innings with a calm, unbeaten 72. As the Indian pair tore into the Lankan bowlers in the death overs, the hosts looked unstoppable, finishing at 271 for 3. The crowd roared, the energy was electric, and India looked every bit the favorite. But then came the twist. After the innings break, Sri Lanka's reply began like a storm. Kalawitharana blazed away with a 16-ball 26, but the real mayhem was unfolding at the other end. Sanath Jayasuriya, compact, fearless, ruthless. His 79 off 76 might not seem monstrous today, but in that moment, it felt like he had flipped the script of the tournament. So fierce was Sanath's assault, India's seasoned pacer, Manoj Prabhakar, was forced into bowling spin mid-spell. A desperate move that backfired spectacularly. He would never play for India again. In that one innings, a new force in world cricket was born, Jayasuriya the enforcer. And India, scarred by the onslaught, they made a fateful decision in the semi-final, choosing to chase on a crumbling Eden pitch. In the quarterfinal, Sanath bulldozed England with 82 off 44, 2 wickets, 1 iconic 6 over the bowler's head, 1 broken career, this time Phil DeFreitas. By then, the world wasn't just watching, it was in awe. In the semi-final, even though Sanath and Kalu fell early, Sanath's impact was felt with the ball. His 3 for 12 included the key stumping of Tendulkar, set up by a brilliant bit of work with Kalu. While the World Cup final was Aravinda's canvas, Sanath played his part, 2 catches, 1 wicket, and the Golden Crown, player of the tournament. From struggling middle-order bits and pieces player to World Cup MVP within 6 years. Just weeks after conquering the cricketing world in 1996, Sri Lanka entered a tri-series in Singapore against India and Pakistan. Though they lost the final, Sanath Jayasuriya walked away having etched his name in ODI folklore. In the opening game, he unleashed absolute carnage, 135 off just 65 balls. His century came in a jaw-dropping 48 deliveries, the fastest in ODI history at that point. He hammered 29 runs off an over from Amar Sohail, which became a world record 30-run over when you add the wide. And those 11 sixes, another record broken. And just when you thought it was a one-off, Jayasuriya returned in the final and smashed the fastest ODI 50 ever in just 17 balls. When Kalawitharana out for a duck, Sri Lanka were on 70, out of which 66 belongs to Sanath alone. He finished with 78 off 26, but somehow Sri Lanka still lost chasing 216. A new force had emerged. Sanath Jayasuriya was now the most feared batsman in ODI cricket. Ask any Indian fan from that era, they didn't just remember those innings, they felt them. That fear eventually turned into admiration. Even today, Sanath is celebrated like a celebrity when he visits India. It's easy to get caught up in the power hitting, but Sanath wasn't just brute force, he evolved. From 1996 to 2009, he scored at least 1 century in 12 out of 14 years. 28 ODI centuries, 24 of them in wins, 86%. 2 back-to-back 150-plus scores, a world first. Hundreds in 12 countries. World Cup records. Captaincy successes, including the Shared Champions Trophy in 2002. And when he wasn't wielding the bat, he was turning games with the ball. 323 wickets, 4 5-wicket hauls, and even death bowling when needed. At his peak, he held Sri Lanka's best figures with both bat and ball in ODI cricket. Think about that. How many cricketers can claim that in any team? Let's put it plainly. Over 13,000 ODI runs, over 300 wickets, 100-plus catches, most sixes at the time of retirement, 1,500-plus fours, one of the highest percentage of centuries and wins, World Cup winner and MVP, career-defining impact that rewrote ODI batting blueprints. Only player in history to have 4 150-plus scores and 4 5-wickets hauls. Second most man of the match awards. So, does a 32 average disqualify him, or does it make his case even stronger? Because despite that, he reshaped the role of the opener, revolutionized power play strategy, and made every team rethink what an ODI innings should look like. His influence birthed the template for T20 cricket. Even Wisden, in a rare exception, named him Cricketer of the Year in 1997, despite no stint in England. Why? Because none of the greats changed the game the way Sanath did. On June 30th, he turns 56. He's now Sri Lanka's head coach. His future in that role remains unwritten. But his past? It's already etched in stone. Sanath Jayasuriya wasn't just a cricketer. He was a revolution. Whether or not the ICC ever give him his due recognition, history has already answered that question. Not with awards, but with fear in the eyes of bowlers, awe from fans, and inspiration to the next generation. So here's to you, Sanath. To the fire you ignited, to the records you broke, to the fear you created, to the joy you gave us, and to the legacy that no stat, however clever, can ever fully capture. Happy birthday in advance, dear Sanath. You were never just a player, you were a movement.